you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking to talk, you me funny lad.
Meghan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore! Doing well, Brad Gilmore with ESPN and the CW. Jack, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on this documentary.
Thank you very much. We're pretty excited about it. Netflix came to us almost a year ago, maybe more than a year ago, and they've been just great to work with. A terrific group of people, directors, producers, the support team really did a great job. You can imagine when someone comes to you, Netflix, someone as big, as powerful as Netflix, and they want to do a documentary. We're looking at each other going like, there's been 2 movies, there's been 2 other documentaries, there's media, there's all kinds of information about us out there. What can they possibly have that's new and exciting? But they had an idea, they had a plan. The producers wanted to come at it from a different angle a little bit. And we've seen it a little bit, a lot of the sort of the dailies and the cuts in that. And it's amazing how they actually are able to present this in a way that people I think are going to really enjoy. I know our team really enjoyed seeing it.
Yeah, I can only imagine that it's one of those stories in American history, especially in maybe even world sports history that just never seems that people can get enough of. It's everlasting. It's persistent. It's always top of mind when you talk about some of the great moments of really American exceptionalism. For you, is it ever a surprise that it's continually, perpetually people want to talk about this moment in your life?
Is it a surprise? No, because it's been 45 years of discussions about it, but it's fun. I feel obliged to engage in discussions about it, whether it's with someone that I just meet somewhere, or if I'm in a golf tournament or whatever. You could just be anywhere, in a restaurant. I feel a little obliged to spend some time with everybody, because it seems that in my experience that people just have real personal sort of vignettes and personal memories and experiences, whether it be like, hey, I watched, at this point, obviously, many people have only know it from the movie, right? So, but they're like, hey, I used to watch it with my parents, the movie, or, you get guys that are more like my age, or even in their 50s. And, they were, I was 10 years old and we watched it, and it's fun to listen, right? And it's respectful, number one, to that person's memory. So always want to give that time. And I never get frustrated. I can always say, all right, listen, I got to get going here. But I mean, I've given my cell phone numbers to people, my email address, reach out, something like that. I mean, it's just meaningful. And it's always nice to be respectful and thoughtful, but I enjoy every second of it. And I think I'm speaking for probably all my teammates, that we've had these amazing conversations for 45 years, and it's gotten to this point where it's no longer a surprise.
Yeah, but I think a quote that just kind of came to my mind when you were talking is, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, right?
I like that. Yeah.
And it seems to be kind of, yeah. It seems to be kind of what you inhabit in that moment.
Yeah.
But again, this particular story, when you saw, and you've seen the final cut of the documentary.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, but I think so. I mean, they've been really good along the way. Netflix has been great as far as involving us and getting feedback. Um, guys are the as the years go by, it tends to kind of boil down and focus on two or three guys, right? And there's some guys that are on that team, big parts of that team, not really part of it. So there was some interaction there. It's like, hey, could you do something where actually you talk about everybody, as opposed to just these three guys or four guys? But Netflix, they listened, they were professional, amazing. They incorporated that, and I think the end product that I think I've seen, but I'm sure they've tweaked it and added music and added all kind of, the final touches. But yeah, they did it. It's just great, and it's a look back in a different way. We're in it now as old guys, and yeah, it's pretty fun stuff. Yeah.
You were all remarking when you returned to the scene where it happened, just how much smaller I think it felt, was what someone said. Wow, it feels like a little bit smaller in this rink,
Yeah.
as opposed to what we remember it as. For you revisiting these moments years later, right, and talking to the guys again, was there anything new that came up that you're like, oh wow, I didn't remember that,
I
during
don't
this
think so.
process? No.
No, I don't think there was anything real new. Yeah, it seemed like when you sit in that rink and we were sitting on the benches and stuff and just kind of looking around the empty rink, and it just seemed, I don't know, smaller than it did at the time. Now, again, it's not a big rink anyway. I mean, you think about, it's amazing how they fit, the 150,000 people I've met that said they were there, all fit inside of a 10,000 seat arena. So, but it's probably seated 8,500, I would imagine. I mean, it's a great rink. They've really done a nice job up there as far as, making it a little bit of a museum feel. The Herb Brooks Arena, I'm going up there in a week from, actually, I'll be up there when the Netflix documentary comes out. I'll be in Lake Placid helping them commemorate the statue to Herb Brooks, okay, that they've been working on for 3 or 4 years. They're putting a statue of Eric Heiden up there. They're working on one of our team that'll probably be closer to a few years from now. Raise money for all this stuff, right? But Lake Placid hasn't changed since the 1932 Olympics. Okay, so it's a piece of it's almost, the town itself is a piece of Americana. The same buildings are still there now. Maybe there's a CVS now instead of a Joe's drugstore, right?
Right.
But for the most part, there's not a lot of that either, though. It's still local businesses. Shops and sort of boutique kind of places, lovely little hotels and B&Bs and things. I mean, but the town itself is just a very iconic piece of America, and I encourage everybody to go experience it. I'm looking forward to going up there next week. I live in Florida, so going from 75 to minus 15 going to be a little problem, but I'm going to have to figure it out.
Well, you're talking to somebody. You're talking to somebody who's in Houston, Texas, where we're going to get in the 30s and the whole city shuts down. So
the whole city shuts down for a week. I hear you.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Let me ask you this though. So I think the hallmark of a great team, and not just a hockey team, you've gone on to do so many things in your life and been very successful at a very, very high level. I think the hallmark of a great team is where you think singularly, but you act collectively. Everybody knows their role and they play it. For you, if you could narrow it down to a singular quality, what do you think makes a great team?
Well, I mean, that's obviously a very interesting comment you just made. Think singularly, act collectively, 100%, and that's part of it. I mean, I don't have all the answers, right?
Sure,
but that's definitely part of it. Ego is something that you need ego, but you really have to be careful. Everything you do in a team environment, it's like a balancing act, sort of, and it doesn't. The same things don't always work, right? So. The one thing, like, you think about when things are going poorly on a team, you're getting a little sideways, or maybe guys are picking at each other or blaming, pointing fingers. And one thing that would be consistently come up would be like, listen, man, just do your damn job. Do your job, right? And it's like, that's the way we get back to basics here. You do your job, and I'll do my job. And then, that's how we go forward. And then once you do that, you realize that things start getting easier and more simplified. And then the connective tissue starts to develop, right, between the people that are doing their own jobs, right? But then the connective tissue where it's like you're helping each other, and that's how a team grows. Do your job and then let the connective tissue come together, right, and let the talent come out and shine. But it's complicated, right? It really is complicated. I mean, Herb Brooks. I played on a team. I played on a team in the World Cup in 1979 when I was a senior in college. So my season was over, and we went to Moscow actually for a World Cup. So I spent a month in Moscow in 1979. It was unbelievable, right? But anyhow, we were in the World Cup. We came in 5th or 7th or something like that. I came back to Boston, and my agent had talked to Herb, and I went to talk to him to see what Herbie said about me. And Herbie basically said that he wanted me on his team, and he wanted to keep me on his team, and and I was going to be one of his players, and anything can happen towards the end, of course, but I was going to make the team and going to be with the team for a while. And so I started asking my agent about what did he like about me, right? Like, did he like the way I passed the puck, power play, or this, that, and the other thing, right? All this hockey stuff. And he's like, Jack, we never even talked about any of that. He says the one big reason why Herbie liked you is because your attitude and who you are as a person, right? So that's right there. I mean, I was like, whoa, really? And so I started thinking about Herb Brooks and going, wow, this guy is building a team. It's all about the people, right? So, and when you look at a team like, I'd follow Chicago Bears because I lived in Chicago for a long time. Sure. So I would never really get that excited about them because I wasn't really a fan of their culture, right? But then last year, right, they had this locker room to me that was really fun to root for. It seemed like they were playing for each other. That kind of thing, right? They had the right people that were selfless, egoless, but committed and competitive to each other. And so they were fun for me to root for, right? And that's kind of how it was with Herb. Like, he was looking at creating a culture of the right people and then letting things happen because he knew that the talent was there.
Amazing. That's what happened. That's why y'all were able to get to the top of the mountain. And it's done so well in the documentary. I really suggest everybody check it out. And Jack, I really do appreciate your time today. Congratulations. And hopefully we'll get to talk again sometime.
Yeah, good talking to you, buddy. Thank you very much. And enjoy the weather down there.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.